This week on the Gavel, lawmakers grill INEC chairman Professor Jega on preparations for the 2015 elections. More lawmakers defect in the House of Representatives. And lawmakers question the use of military for the 2015 elections. All this on the Gavel. Welcome to the Gavel. I'm Linda Akibe. The National Assembly resumed plenary after a 5-week recess, and they got up to an exciting start. Lawmakers in the upper chamber promptly invited the chairman of the electoral body INEC, Professor Jega, to explain how prepared the commission is to conduct the elections and also clarify several issues on the use of the card readers. There have been differences of opinions by several individuals and even political parties on the legality of using card readers, particularly as regards if the card readers violates the aspect of the Constitution on electronic voting. Professor Jega did appear before the Senate at plenary, and lawmakers spent more than 3 hours grilling him on several issues on the upcoming elections. INEC Chairman Professor Jega makes his way into the Senate chamber. The Senate invited him to clear the air on some worrying issues pertaining to INEC's preparedness for the upcoming general elections. There have been widespread reports of the inability of Nigerians to collect their voters' cards and the outstanding issue of the legality of the use of card readers for the elections. Professor Jega said INEC is not violating the Constitution by using card readers for the elections. He then demonstrated how the card readers would work. Done with the demonstration, lawmakers grilled Professor Jega on several issues. They sought to know how reliable the card readers are and what other backup plans the Commission has put on ground in the event that the card readers malfunction on election day.
In the highly unlikely event that a card reader fails, we have enough spares to deploy before the end of the accreditation at 1 p.m. and then adjust the time to gain for lost time where or if a card reader has failed. If we cannot replace before the end of accreditation, then the election in that particular voting point would be postponed to the following day when a new card reader will be provided for the election. And we agreed with political parties to do this because if you say if a card reader fails, then revert to manual, we are worried that then everywhere it will revert to manual because there are many people who don't want the card reader to be used. If a voter's permanent voter's card has been read and his or her details have been verified, but his fingerprints cannot be authenticated, or he or she has no fingers, an incidence form would be written by the presiding officer of the voting point, and the voter would then be accredited. Party agents and observers will be there to testify to this.
Although Professor Jega was optimistic that INEC would take advantage of the postponement of the elections to ensure that everything is put in place, he admitted that there were still unresolved problems.
Secondly, with regards to the question you asked about outstanding production of PVCs, I don't lie, and I will acknowledge that as I speak with you, there are about 800 to 1 million cards yet to be produced. But over 66 million of the 68 million registered voters, the cards have been produced. They are already in the states for collection. And we've been saying the problem is not production, the problem is collection. People are not coming out to collect cards for one reason or the other. We've done our best to decentralize. So in a sense, the postponement is a blessing in disguise, because at least all those cards now will be produced and distributed before the 28th of March.
The postponement of the elections is already a foregone issue, but that did not stop lawmakers from calling the attention of the INEC chairman to one nagging issue.
Come 28th of March and 11th of April, will you commit yourself to us and Nigerians about the sanctity of these dates?
It's a very difficult question to answer, because, yes, let me land. I have said consistently that there are things under the control of an electoral commission. There are things that are not under the control of an electoral commission. For things that are under our control, we can give definite and categoric assurances. What is not under our control, it's futile, it's fruitless, it's useless to give a definite guarantee on them. So frankly, I think that question should be directed appropriately.
The to and fro between federal lawmakers and INEC chairman Professor Jega lasted for more than 3 hours, with the INEC chairman trying to explain to lawmakers how the commission was dealing with issues with logistics, issues of the distribution of permanent voters' cards, and the legality or otherwise of the use of card readers for these elections. But despite the problems associated with PVCs and the card readers, Professor Jega maintained that they remain the most viable options for now for ensuring credible elections. Professor Jega also foreclosed the use of temporary voters' cards for the 2015 general elections. The 2015 elections did not only dominate activities in the Senate, but also in the House of Representatives. Now, lawmakers in the upper chamber took the INEC chairman up on the matter of deploying soldiers for the elections. To involve or not to involve soldiers for the 2015 elections was an issue we saw take prominence during the week, with the two major political parties, that's the PDP and the APC, taking two completely different stands on the matter. The APC asked President Goodluck Jonathan and INEC chairman Professor Jega to ensure that a court judgment barring the involvement of soldiers in elections is complied with in the forthcoming polls. Now, Justice Abdul Aboki led 5-man panel of judges that sat in Abuja in the appeal against the election of Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose reiterated that the use of armed forces in the conduct of elections was in violation of Section 217, subsection 2C of the Constitution and Section 1 of the Armed Forces Act. But the PDP raised the alarm over what he termed the move by the APC to discredit the use of soldiers during elections in the country. The PDP, however, said the federal government would not work against court judgments on military involvement. Now, this issue was brought up in the House of Representatives. So let's find out how lawmakers handled the matter.
The first issue that came up at Thursday's plenary in the House of Representatives was a matter of urgent national importance raised by a lawmaker from Akwa Ibom State, Robinson Owak, on the attack at a political rally in Okrika, Rivers State, Tuesday. Mr. Owak said the spate of political violence across the country called for urgent and decisive measures, causing the House to mandate the Nigerian police to investigate, arrest and prosecute all persons involved in the Okrika attack, in which a staff of Channels Television was stabbed by some unidentified hoodlums.
The House is worried with the state of political violence across the country. Security agencies are not doing enough to ensure that the rights of the citizens are protected. The House again notes that the attack took place in spite of warnings by local politicians against the All Progressives Congress rally in Okrika, and such An attack of such magnitude was carried out without proper reactionary measures by the police and other security agencies. The House is concerned that such an open and audacious attack could encourage further political violence if the perpetrators of such heinous attack are not brought to justice immediately, regardless of their political affiliations. The House therefore resolved to condemn the recent attack on the political rally in Okrika, River State, and all forms of political violence, and the House also resolved to call on the Nigeria Police Force to investigate, arrest, and prosecute all those involved in this attack.
Still on the elections was a motion on the deployment of soldiers during the general elections. The motion, sponsored by the minority leader of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, was however stepped down as another lawmaker, Karimi Sunday, raised a point of order, saying the House cannot comment on any matter pending in court. Sustaining all points of order raised on the motion, the Speaker said the matter was a sensitive issue which he expected every member to take very seriously.
In view of the sensitivity of this matter, and with the unfolding events in the country, please, I want us to take this matter very seriously. Very, very seriously. I would therefore direct the chairs of committees on rules and business, judiciary and justice to advise the Speaker and come back to the House on Tuesday on this point of order being raised by Honorable Karimi on this particular motion.
He appealed to lawmakers on the need to seek counsel on the motion. He referred it to the joint committees on rules and business, justice and judiciary to advise the House on the matter on the next legislative day.